This is the growth game plan that's going to allow you to grow 5 to 8 inches within 5 to 6 months, even after puberty. Let's firstly take a look at this amazing Olympic athlete, Rustam Akhmetov. He had a remarkable journey of increasing his height from just 5'4" to 6'2" at the age of 20. Just after his coach told him that he might be too short to compete in his sport, which was height jumping, he set out to go on a strict routine that actually naturally increased his height, even though he had short parents. What we need to understand about his journey was that the height increase was not so much physiological but psychological. He was destined to be short for his lifetime until he made the decision to grow taller and implement the right strategies and test them out. So I'm going to tell you exactly how you yourself can use his techniques and other gate-kept secrets to grow taller even after puberty. And this is going to be a master plan. But first of all, we need to understand why we get taller in the first place. That is down to two hormones, human growth hormone and insulin growth factor 1. During puberty, there is a spike in both of these hormones, resulting in more muscle mass, longer bones, facial changes, and a much deeper voice as well. But as we do grow older, the secretion of these hormones dramatically reduces. But in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you exactly how you can release more hormones like this, even past the optimal age of hormonal release of these hormones to grow taller. Human growth hormone is released from the pituitary gland. Its main function is to repair tissues and promote growth. However, the hormone itself, growth hormone, is not actually what increases height. The hormone directly responsible is insulin growth factor 1, an insulin-like growth factor. The pituitary gland releases human growth hormone, which travels through the bloodstream to the liver and synthesizes the release of insulin growth factor 1. From ages 14 to 16, this hormone peaks but gradually decreases after that stage. That's why insulin growth factor 1 is so powerful for our height growth. There is a myth that fasting from 6 to 12 hours can help increase testosterone and human growth hormone levels, but this is simply not optimal. Fasting in itself can actually reduce insulin growth factor 1 levels as it's a caloric restriction. Fasting and insulin growth factor 1 release have an indirect relationship. The longer you fast, the lower that release of insulin growth factor 1 will be. And therefore, the more you fast, the slower and less you will grow. Eat as much as you can, but not to excess. Because when it becomes to excess, what happens is aromatase will start converting your testosterone to estrogen, which happens at an excessively high body fat percentage. So enough dairy product and protein is basically the baseline of what is required, but there's a lot more than just that needs to be considered. Getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep is crucial. Sleep deprivation actually suppresses insulin growth factor 1 levels. Get 8 to 9 hours of sleep and aim to enter the slow wave state. We'll talk a lot more about that later in the video. Epigenetics is an emerging area of scientific research that shows how a person's experiences and environmental influences can affect a gene expression. The genes a person inherits from their biological parents provide the information that guides their development. For example, how tall they could eventually become or the type of temperament that they might have. When experiences during development rearrange the epigenetic marks that govern gene expression, they can change whether and how genes release the information they carry. Your body, your DNA, your hormones, everything will start changing according to you as you start working on growing taller. Our body can change and modify according to our needs. This is similar to why giraffes are taller. They haven't always been. Basically, their bodies adapted over time by remodeling their bones and necks to reach the top of the trees to eat. That is how evolution shapes them. The main objective here is to eat more. Eat 4 to 5 times every day, but not to excess. Fast food and irregular eating schedules are what negatively impact our growth potential. In terms of nutrients, you should eat a lot of calcium as it's essential for bone growth and health. Sources include milk, cheese and yogurt, particularly goat and sheep types of dairy, and raw if you can get it because the nutrients are in a higher concentration. Red meat is a complete protein source that contains all essential amino acids and proteins, specifically grass-fed. It's in a higher density. Try and go for some wild-caught game meat as well. Game meat is going to be exceedingly high in nutrients, as the animals have literally had to flee the scene to try and not get killed for the meat. Chicken is especially high in vitamin B12, a water-soluble vitamin essential for maintaining and gaining height. Taurine, an amino acid that controls bone growth and formation, is also abundant within. Zinc promotes growth and development of bones with sources like meat, shellfish, seeds and nuts. You can gain a lot of that. Another very important vitamin is vitamin D. You can get this from sunlight, particularly fish and fortified dairy. Being in the sunlight in the morning and late at night, following that circadian rhythm, aids your sleep, and it also aids vitamin D levels. Microfracturing. Now this is a technique that your body needs in order to grow. Exercises are crucial to developing denser bones and muscles that support growth. That is why you see basketball players experience a second growth spurt after starting professional training, some of them growing up from 5 to 8 inches in a few years. Another example is the Maasai tribe. Now they all average 6'3". They practice a traditional exercise where they jump vertically as high as they can repeatedly. Undergoing this, their bones will experience microfractures. Their body produces callous tissue to fill them. This temporary soft tissue eventually becomes stronger bone through a process known as bone remodeling. Their diet is essentially pure dairy, red meat and a lot of sunlight exposure, contributing to them being the tallest community in the world. Now, cycling and swimming both stretch the limbs and spine, causing microfractures that are later filled with new bone, giving longer bones and stronger muscles to support them. Sprinting is the next activity you can do. There is no other activity that boosts human growth hormone to this level. Sprinters often have builds similar to bodybuilders. Now, why is this? Sprinting dramatically increases that hormone, human growth hormone, by up to 2,000%, promoting longevity, injury healing and fat loss while preserving muscle mass. It can also reduce body fat up to 40% more than other types of training, and up to 93% more than long distance running. To start now, try interval sprinting. 20 to 30 second sprints at maximum speed with 4 to 5 minute breaks in between. Jogging to warm up for 5 to 10 minutes is definitely recommended. Sprinting uses fast twitch muscle fibers, which are larger than slow twitch fibers and are also targeted in strength training. Sprinting puts pressure on the bones, causing microfractures that become stronger. Pair this with a proper diet and stretching and you will be significantly able to increase your height in a few months. Now, slow wave sleep, back to this. This plays a crucial role in regulating human growth hormone. During this stage, the body undergoes significant repair and restoration. Brain waves during this state are at their slowest and most synchronized. Heart rate and respiratory rate decrease significantly. Growth hormone production peaks at approximately 95% during this stage. Sleep-deprived individuals have delayed human growth hormone secretion during their sleep. To obtain optimal sleep, you need to do the following. Optimize your amino intake through consuming lots of red meat, exercise protocols, and temperature control just before you go to bed, keeping your room with the window potentially open so that it's a bit cooler than expected. This aids you falling asleep. There's going to be a lot more videos coming out, a lot more advanced than this, with even more height maxing techniques. But I also want to tell you about the Discord, where we've got over 20 free ebook guides on growing taller and leaked looks maxing resources that I would highly recommend to you if you want to improve. If you want to get to the next level as well, make sure that you do join the chamber, and there's a lot more about what this is. It's got a lot of coaching, one-on-one coaching, and tailored advice specifically for you, so it ensures that you can quickly ascend without having to do a load of trial and error. So make sure to join the Discord for all of these free guides and free advice.